Maybe it's taking forever because it's slow. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Coffee Chat Live, and this is Billy Parrott, Billy and B Town, Meridian Real Estate. And today I have my special guest, Kyle Schulze from Nebraska and Miami now, right? You are
Yes.
also, yes. And so I invited Kyle on today because I've been getting a lot of questions. And I've actually been thinking it myself of buying my first short term vacation rental. Been having a lot of clients asking me about it. So I thought, hey, this would be a great time to have Kyle on because I know that you've had experience. Um, you seem to be knowledgeable in that arena. So I wanted to invite you on as my guest today. And this is actually my first time having a guest on my StreamYard in this manner. So hopefully everything goes well. And if not, I'll just blame it on Kyle.
Thanks. If in all honesty, if there's a glitchy techie thing, I'm not a good millennial. It's probably my fault anyways. Billy is
No.
fantastic and has everything set up perfectly. It's Kyle doesn't know that there's a button that's great big red, like right there that says push me. And I just don't see it.
Yes. No, it's all, this is perfect. I love it. And thank you for being my guinea pig today.
You're welcome.
Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself to our people that are watching out there this morning? Just give us a little bit of who you are.
Yes. So my name is Kyle Schulze. I have been a realtor in Omaha, Nebraska for next month is going to be 13 years. I
Dang.
am with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate here in Omaha, so Nebraska, and also the Iowa side, so the Council Bluffs area right across the river. And then, as Billy alluded to, I now have a Florida real estate license as well. So I'm with the Kais company down there in Miami. So that is newer. I'm still learning there, but it's like the same thing.
It's just you have palm trees. You have beautiful
Uh,
palm trees,
That is
beautiful weather.
true. Nebraska kind of lacks palm trees. I do have two outside my front door here, though. So then I have a little bit of a tropical vibe in both locations.
Wait, you have palm trees outside of your door?
Yes.
How?
Oh, they're in pots.
How you can do
And
that?
yes. I mean, they're not like the palm trees that grow coconuts. It's a parlor palm. It's not going to grow a coconut.
Oh, I want to do that. I'm going to do that. And what is it called? A parlor palm?
Parlor palm. So that's what the old ones were. These ones are a little bit different. They're still a palm tree. I don't know what they're called.
I like that because I love palm trees. So if I could bring that to Montana, I'm gonna do that.
Yes. You have to bring them inside in the winter. Otherwise, they will die.
Okay, good to know because I am a horrible green thumb. That's why I have to get a snake plant or one of those bamboo plants, like because I forget to water them and they're okay with that. So, is this one high maintenance? A high maintenance plant?
I have all of my pots and plants and everything around the house on timer irrigation systems. So like the pots, they have little drip lines that water them twice a day.
Okay, I need to do that.
So yeah, so I mean, especially traveling to NAR stuff to Miami. I'll be gone for 19 days here,
That's true.
so they kind of need to be automated. The
Yeah, I
inside
like
plants
that.
are not automated, so I still have to have somebody come and water my inside plants.
Okay, that's smart. That is smart. I know. I was thinking, is he talking about inside or outside plants? Because how do you do irrigation? I was like trying to think of like you had this whole machine set. But sorry about that. We got off topic. He said palm trees in Nebraska, and I was like, ooh, I'm intrigued. All right. So one of the biggest questions that I get is, what is my first step in buying a vacation or short-term rental? What's like your first step? If you're thinking, you know what, I'm ready. What do I do?
Yep. So that's going to be a very individualized approach. So you have to identify what your goals are in acquiring that property. Is it going to be purely an investment standpoint and you want to rent it out 365 days a year? If you can get 365 days a year, you're doing something very well. Congratulations.
Yes.
Don't expect 100% occupancy. Or is it a property that or in a, like I have a favorite vacation spot and I don't want to keep renting a rental home myself, or I'm tired of hotels. I want a house there. I want to live in a, the couple months out of the year that I'm down there off and on, but the rest of the time I want to rent it out, and then I make money off of something that is a little bit more mine and saves money on my vacations overall. So that can be a little more emotional driven. Your numbers are going to be different in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, really just figuring out what you want out of your ownership.
Okay. And then obviously location is a big thing too, right? Like obviously, like, because what I'm thinking about a vacation or a short-term rental, where do I want to go? Like, where do I want to visit every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while? So what are your thoughts on that?
So again, I'm going to kind of be dependent on your goals and then what you want your target audience to be. So if it's going to be like vacation rentals, then yeah, you want to look at maybe where you like to go. You'll probably be a little more enthusiastic about it. But if it's just for investment only, you might want to look to see where other people like to go more so than yourself. If you're never going to stay in the property and you're going to hire someone else to manage it when you're halfway across the country, then really location does not matter to you as much in that regard. It's all about the numbers. Um, if it's going to be in your town and you're probably not going to be staying in it, then it is more of an investment only type thing. Think about the areas of town that people tend to come to when they're on their vacations. So like Omaha, like around the the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo is the best zoo in the entire country. There are great people that have confirmed this on rankings. So that's like our Disney World. It's like
Yeah.
lame, but it's not Disney World, but it's our Disney World. So that's a very popular area, like downtown, closer to the interstate. Then you can get people that are just, driving through and stopping, or you could travel, or you could target travel nurses and want to have something near the hospitals. My property, so the Airbnb is in the basement of my house. That was a criteria I had when I was buying my new house because I knew that I wanted a bigger house. I also wanted an investment property. And as a self-employed individual, it is hard enough to get approved for one loan, therefore two. So I bought a bigger house than I really need. But the basement is its own like separate suite. It's absolutely perfect. It has its own entrance, a separate kitchen, a second laundry room. It's obviously bathroom, bedroom, living room, and then an office area too, which is nice. And then they have a great big patio, and they get 2 parking spots in the driveway. So it works really well. A lot of my guests are going to be more of people in town visiting family. I'm quite a ways away from downtown, but surprisingly, I do still get that zoo crowd. I get the College World Series crowd. That's the busiest time for Omaha. Some Berkshire Hathaway shareholders weekend crowd, but a lot of it is visiting families or people visiting their families that are more out in the suburban areas, and then travel nurses. So over the busier travel months, the like shorter term stays, one night, maybe a couple weeks, that's more of what I target. It was not my initial target. As a real estate agent, I get emails all the time from other agents in my office that are looking for a short-term place for their clients to stay, whether they're in between houses, they're relocating in, they sold their house, they're waiting for their new construction to be built, lots of different scenarios. So I knew there was a need, and that is what I initially signed up, or in my mind planned for. And then partly because the turnover in between guests, the cleaning and things like that, that's something that I thought that I was going to be doing, and that takes a lot of time, and I don't like cleaning. So I wanted to do as little of that as possible.
What? You don't like cleaning?
I do not like cleaning, but then I found an amazing housekeeper. I was like, I need a deep clean of this before it goes live. And she's like, do you want me to bid it out for the in-between guests? I'm like, well, I was kind of planning on doing that myself, but I mean, give me a number. And she gave me a number. I'm like,
done. Done and done.
Yep. So more of especially the summer and then the spring and fall, it's going to be the shorter term people that I target. And that's what works for me. Seasonally, Nebraska has this terrible thing called winter, and people don't like to go in the snow and all of that terribleness. So it slows down a lot. But then that's when I target those travel nurses, the people building that can stay for 3 months or more. I had somebody that stayed Halloween through mid-December, and then somebody else that moved in that same day that they moved out, and they ended up staying until late April because their house that was supposed to be done by the end of 2022, but they were like, I don't think it's going to be done. It's probably going to be more like end of January, mid-February at the absolute latest. Delays and delays and delays, and all of a sudden, April.
Yeah.
So I mean, it worked out really well for them. They were very appreciative, and I'm glad that I had the flexibility, and they kept me updated as time went along so that I could continue to block out more dates for them. So then they were not homeless.
Well, that's another avenue that you can, go to. So do you just advertise solely on one of those platforms? Do you push it out in other ways? Like, what's the best way for you? Because you had talked about targeting different, types of people that might need your house. Like, how are you getting the word out?
Mm-hmm. So I'm just on Airbnb, but then, the agent to agent type of conversations and things like that, I share that with people. The people that were building from December to April, that came from an agent friend of mine. It was his clients. He was posting on Facebook looking for something. I shared it with him. It was going to be a lengthy stay. Airbnb charges not so much fees to the host, but the guest fees are a lot. So we ended up renting it outside of Airbnb, which was good and bad. It saved me, I think it's like 3, maybe 4% of the fee that they charge a host. So I'm not really concerned about that, but it's quite a bit more. So it saved these people thousands of dollars probably on fees. So then we just kind of made a month-to-month type lease that we worked it out.
Right.
My advice would probably be to have an attorney write something up, but it was like, hey, we need this in like 3 days. So I did the best that I could. But I feel like I'm fairly knowledgeable. It worked out. They were vouched for as good people. I was vouched for as a good person. We had mutual trust. It worked out fine. But if you're booking outside of Airbnb, probably have something in writing. I don't know other places. There's like squatter rights and all of that. I don't know how that works.
We have that here.
And I don't know what the days are, but you you want to make sure to protect yourself because there are some horror stories out there if you read articles that hosts have written, or not even really articles, like little ranting Facebook posts and Airbnb superhost groups. Those are real
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I bet. I couldn't even imagine the stories. I saw one particular one on TikTok where they these people rented it, but they ended up having like a college house party, like this huge, I mean, they had over 50 people in this house. And part of the agreement was they can only have, this set
Right.
many people. And so they had to come in and like kick everybody out. And a couple of the teenagers were just like pushing back and being rude and like throwing things at the window. They had to call the cops. It was insane. I was like, is this real? Like, that would be probably your worst nightmare, right, Kyle? Like to have that happen where you'd have to kick a bunch of people out and they're just trashing your house.
Have I not told you that story?
No, I don't think so.
So it's the only negative situation I've had with any of my guests. I did have somebody that booked it for a night as they were in town visiting family. I later did a little bit of research and my not rebuttal and my documentation purposes. Turns out they live 11 miles away in Omaha. So, I mean, it's really not in town to visit family. Turns out this woman booked my Airbnb, my basement of my personal home, to host her daughter's 18th birthday party that included activities such as drunk Uno and smoking of who knows what. I came home and I have asthma and some breathing problems. Like I was here for like 10 seconds and then I immediately started having some asthmatic symptoms because it was that bad. And that's like traveling up through the floor then into my space.
Wow.
And then some kid came ringing the doorbell asking if this is where such and such party is.
Oh no.
I'm like, thank you for admitting this. I called Airbnb, try to work it out, and at first they're like, well, what proof do you have that they're having a party? I'm like, I hear it and I can't breathe, and somebody just came knocking on the door. And they're like, have you seen the party? I'm like, what do you want me to do? Go down and look in the windows? Like, I feel like me hearing a lot of voices and singing and loud music, like this is pretty indicative and pretty concrete evidence that there is indeed a party. Well, have you seen it? No, I have not. So then people were still arriving. I took pictures of them walking up the driveway then. And then I was like, I'm just done with trying to deal with Airbnb right now. I called the police and I had them escorted from my property. The karma in me and the like self-righteousness was kind of like, they all need to be locked up because they're doing bad things in my property. They cause me emotional stress and distress, and I'm not okay with this. At the very least, the mother who was there the entire time supervising this should be charged with some sort of, I don't know what it's called, like when you give alcohol to minors.
Well, yeah, because I was just going to say, weren't they underage?
At 18? Yes, they were.
Yeah.
They just got him out of the property, which is fine. That's what I wanted. The daughter had the audacity to be, so are you refunding us?
Are you kidding me?
Like, you're not letting us stay. Are you refunding us? I'm like, no, you're breaking all kinds of rules right now.
Yeah.
You're actually in violation. I could probably charge you more. And I did. I worked with Airbnb and through their, what is it? Air cover, whatever their like insurance type policy is. So
Mm-hmm.
I charge them for extra cleaning because even though they got most of the stuff out, they left a lot of decorations and things like that, balloons everywhere. And
Hang out with.
then there was stickiness. Somebody had thrown up in the bathroom, like all over the bathroom. I had to get an ozone machine to get the smell, that smell, but then also the smoking smell out. So then I could even, live here, because therefore rent it out again. So I got all of that paid for and reimbursed through Airbnb. So that worked out great and fine. That's the only thing. I'm just kind of shocked because it says in multiple places, like, hey, I live upstairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if you're going to pick a place to have an illegal party, would you choose somebody's basement knowing that they live above you?
No, absolutely not. No. On that note, so real quick, I just want to shout out to Sabrina. Sabrina Lowry from Hotland is watching. She had put post-written house rules, kind of what you were saying, right? So they have the house rules. I know the
Mhm.
Airbnb that we just stayed at in California, they had a whole book, which was nice. And the front was like what they expect of you when you check out, what the rules are, and it was just laid out nicely. And obviously, it was in an email too. So, is that something that you typically just do yourself and provide that to Airbnb? Does Airbnb have like a contract that's already like pre-filled and you add what you want, or how does that typically work as far as like their contract and rules that they have to abide by?
Yeah, so most of the rules are in the listing itself prior to booking. When people are going to check in, I do send them. It's turned into a pretty lengthy message that has like what the lockbox code is and how to work the thermostat, because I've had people that can't work a thermostat, and how to get here because the street down the road was widened and now you can't make a left turn. There's a median in the way. So then GPS doesn't know that still over a year later. So, I mean, little things that come up multiple times, they've just gone into that email. I'm not as picky and strict as a lot of hosts are, because there are a lot of hosts that say, no, it's 2 people and that is it.
Wow.
I know you're in town visiting family, that family member's not allowed. And I'm like, really? I mean, these people are trying to enjoy their vacation. Like, you have more rules than a hotel. Like, a hotel does not really care as long as you're not having a party. If things are not causing you an issue, let people have their friends over. Like, within reason, of course, not like 100 people. I have had somebody ask if they can host a like going away party, and like, it's just too many people in one bathroom. And like, I trust you, like I get that you say that you're a college athlete and all that, which actually is like, maybe a little bit of a red flag, but you say you're respectful. I give people the benefit of the doubt and trust them until they choose or they prove to not be trustworthy. Maybe that's the Midwest Nebraska nice in me. We trust people off the gate, off the bat. You don't have to prove that you're trustworthy until I'm going to trust you until you prove otherwise.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
That's a Montana thing too. It's that small town. That's a Montana thing too.
Yeah. I mean, first, Omaha is not small. It's just smaller than other places. I think we're like the 44th largest city. Omaha proper is actually, I learned, slightly larger than Miami proper. So, but that's because Omaha goes and annexes everything and swallows it up.
Oh, okay.
And by land area, it's way bigger because we don't have oceans in the way to.
Yeah, that's true.
We just keep growing.
Yeah.
Anyways, now I don't know what I was talking about.
We were just talking about like the contract. So
Oh, the contract and house rules and things like that.
Yep.
So when I got started in Airbnb, there was like a Airbnb ambassador person. I don't know what their program is called, but she gave me a lot of the information, a lot of the messages that I send. I've edited them. A house rule book is one of those things that was provided to me as well. And when I've helped other people launch their Airbnbs, I've given them what I have too.
Nice. Yeah, Sabrina said, remember, it's not a hotel. It's private property, set boundaries and standard house rules. Be reasonable. Yeah. That's good.
But don't be a jerk.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because even when we left ours, they said, don't worry about stripping the bedding. Just make sure the beach towels are clean and put up or whatever. Well, I took an extra step and I put all of the towels, like the bath towels, in the wash for them. So then all they had to do was throw it in the dryer when they got there. So, just be nice. And they appreciate, and I got a nice email after, like, thanks so much for taking care of the property and got my deposit back. And that's the other thing too. Do you charge a deposit type thing and then they get it back if they do all the things they're supposed to do when they check out? I saw that was one thing that they did.
So I'll touch on that, then I want to circle back to the cleaning and laundry stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But deposit, when you sign up as a host, it asks if you want to charge deposits. So then I said yes, and then you choose your amount. It implies that Airbnb is collecting that for you. Turns out they don't.
Oh.
So that is something that you can say, and then you can collect it on your own. I haven't. By the time I learned that, my anxiety about people being in my house like calmed down. Like, all right, I haven't really had issues. Like, I think this is going to be okay. So I have not figured out how to do that, and it sounds like it's a complicated thing. Like, you're holding on to people's money and stuff like that. Like, there has to be some sort of accounting stuff, and I don't want to deal with that.
Gotcha.
I also read something, and don't quote me on it because I don't remember exactly or its validity, but one of the updates of Airbnb policies coming up is that you can't charge the deposits. So your deposit, did you give that directly to the host?
Honestly, I don't remember. I'd have to look back. It just seemed like it was all the way they did it is they automatically just included it in what we paid. And then it was almost like, not a discount, but yeah, I mean, you got it back if you did all the things. It was like $500 or something like that. But they just included it all in everything that you paid for. If that makes sense, because it was kind of weird because I was doing the math because I was like, well, it's only this much per month. Why is it this much for the whole thing? Well, it was because of the deposit.
Okay. And you booked it through Airbnb?
It was actually VRBO. So
Okay.
VRBO might do something different than Airbnb.
They might.
Mm-hmm.
And VRBO is going to be a little bit different of a platform. They do not have shared spaces. So like Airbnb, we might have talked about this earlier. There are multiple different ways you can Airbnb, and you can Airbnb an entire property. You can do a shared or separate but shared-ish space like I have, or you can, if you have a spare bedroom, that you can Airbnb a bedroom. I personally don't know, as though I would stay in one. But I mean, then you're like sharing your kitchen and your living room with
a stranger.
With a stranger. But there are people that Airbnb by the single room, an entire house. They don't live there, they might have a 5-bedroom house. They have 5 rooms in the Airbnb. It's a little more hotel hostel-y type of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a strategy too. That's going to be a niche market. There could be real opportunity in that there's going to be people that are looking for more affordable options like that. So, I mean, I say that I wouldn't stay in one, but I'm also me and not most people.
Yeah, that's true. There's a
But
lot of people, they just don't have that much money to, and so that's like their only option, right? Like maybe a college student or somebody like
right.
that where they don't care. They're like, yeah, whatever, So yeah, it's personalities.
Yeah. And then to circle back a little bit on the like cleaning and all of that,
Mhm.
there are hosts that have a big long list of things that you have to do before checking out. You have to do the laundry. You have to make the bed again. You have to take out the garbage. You have to do all the dishes. You have to do this, that, and that. And if you miss a speck of dust or something, then they're going to charge you for extra cleaning because they weren't supposed to have to clean anything. But the thing is, they're also being charged a cleaning fee.
Exactly. I was like, what am
So,
I paying a cleaning fee for if I have to clean?
right. So that, and then people are on vacation.
Yes.
If they wanted to do housework, they would have had a staycation in their own house and did all the cleaning there because really that would probably be the better use of their cleaning time is to clean their own house versus somebody else's. Now, granted, it's still their mess.
Yeah.
But like, I don't do that. I'm like, people ask like what they need to do because they're like, you didn't tell us what we need to do. I'm like, put the key in the lockbox and text me to let me know that you're left. That's all I want from you.
Wow.
And I mean, really, like, well, are you sure? Like, if it makes you feel better, you can put all the towels and the linens in a pile for my housekeeper to take care of. But then, like cleaning dishes and things like that, I've also learned that people have different standards of what is clean. So, especially if people are rushing through, like I occasionally find a plate or something. I'm like, this is disgusting. You cleaned this. It's like I don't trust people to like clean
Yeah.
the dishes even. Like, please just leave the dishes in the sink. I do tell them to do that because some people like just left them in the dishwasher or something like that, and then I thought all my stuff was gone because it was hiding in a dishwasher. So or they thought that they needed to clean it. I'm like, at least leave all the dirty dishes in the sink. So then that way it's like, hey, I'm not expecting you to clean. And I'm telling you this, and I'm actually kind of telling you, please don't clean because you might be the world's best dishwasher, but yeah, I'm not really going to trust you on that.
No, that's,
And I don't have time to inspect every single plate and bowl and knife and fork in between people. Like, that's not really a realistic thing that can be done. So,
yeah, no, that's a good point. Your clean and my clean could be two completely different things, right? So for you, you feel more comfortable just having it done by your professional, and then it's done right. So that makes total sense. Chris, I never know how to say your last name, Chris. Abaziz. I'm so sorry if I screwed that up, but he's watching from Palm Beach, which will be in Miami next week, right, Kyle?
Yes, we will.
Excited. Um, let's see. But Sabrina had said treat it like a security deposit, trust accounting practices type thing. So I mean that's something that you can look at doing like that. Abazis, thank you, Chris. I was like, I know I'm saying it wrong. So what was my next question? Oh yeah. So what kind of ROI can someone expect? And I know that it can vary, right, depending on the property. But what has your experience been? I mean, are you seeing a really good return on investment for, what you've put in?
Yeah, so I mean that's going to be very property, market to market specific. There are tools out there that can kind of project what your estimated income is going to be, and then you can run the numbers to decide if that's a good return. And returns are subjective too. You might think that something is a great return, and I don't, or vice versa. You could be, oh, I'm going to make $100 a month, and I'll be like, yeah, that's not worth it. So, in my situation is going to be a little bit different than if you're looking at it just from the numbers perspective, because going into this, I was thinking, okay, well, I'll cover like most of the mortgage because it's still my house.
Yeah.
Especially with being able to accommodate the shorter term people. And I guess to circle back a little bit too, like during the busy months, that is why, because the nightly rent is much higher over the summer than it is over the winter. So winter, it's avoiding the vacancy loss. Summer, it is capitalizing on the higher nightly rents. Sorry, I kind of forgot what I was answering now.
There's a lot to it, I know.
I'm sorry, Billy.
No, you're good. So you had talked about tools to calculate.
Tools, yeah. So I use AirDNA.
AirDNA.
Yep. There's also a program out there. I'm going to probably pronounce it wrong. Rolio. They were at the NAR convention. I knew of them before that too.
Rolio?
Yes, I've sat through a presentation with them too. They have a lot of really cool data. It's a lot more robust for where I am right now. Like, it just does not make sense to spend the additional money that is that you get what you pay for it. You have a lot more tools and things like that to work with on the Rolio side, and that's, I think that it's a little more geared towards like agents that are advising Airbnb homeowners and things like that. But you can, as a client, you can have an account underneath your agent's account to have access to the data and the analytics and things like that. It's a great program. AirDNA is what I started with. That's what I use. You can put in the address, put in the property, some of the property specifics, not everything. Bedrooms, bathrooms, number of people that can stay. That's about it. And then it runs numbers to tell you what to expect. But it's just like the websites out there on how much is my house worth. Yeah. It's an automatic or automated valuation model. They've never been in the property. There's specifics in there that are not being calculated. Does it have laundry? Does it not have laundry? Like, that has some value in it too. That's something that I don't know specifically about laundry, but those types of tools and more amenity focused is something that Rolio is able to calculate the numbers on a little bit better. And comparing more like property to more like property. And I think that is, I think Rolio would have a hard time even with my property because it's a different type of situation. So I have this little sweet spot in the market that there's really not a lot of competition. Like, I'm more than a bedroom in someone's house. I'm more than just a basement. I'm less than an entire house. So people that, are looking for something that's like in between. It has its own laundry, its own kitchen. Essentially, it's its own apartment. Um, so it's a step above that, but a step below that. So there's really not a lot of competition for me. And I think that is partly why I have been successful in seeing the results that I have.
So
But
it kind of, I mean, it's not going to be exact, but at least it'll give you somewhat of an idea, right? Like as
yeah,
far as, yeah.
yeah. And again, just like those valuation models, you look at the competition. In this scenario, it's going to be looking at the actives, not the solds. But then you go through the actives and you can kind of get an idea of what their booking activity is like based off of their rates. You can look at how many reviews they've had. I look at the reviews, but also like how frequently are the reviews? Was the last review in March? Well, then they're probably not too booked up. But if they've had 5 reviews in July, that means that they're seeing activity. Now, we don't know if they're all 1-day stays or if they're a mixture and they've been 100% occupied or they've booked 5 days that month.
So that brings up a question. How do you decide what to charge? Like, are you just kind of going out there and looking to see what like similar properties are doing in your area, or like you just pull it out and be like, yeah, we're gonna do that and see what
A combination of.
okay.
So what AirDNA tells me, I've not looked in a while to see if I'm still on their projections or not. When I started, their projected numbers were a lot lower, and I increased them a little bit based off of what I was seeing in the marketplace, and then also what my activity and occupancy had been. So I've bumped that up. Now they see my data because it's pulling the data in. It pulls the data from Airbnb and VRBO and probably some other places to be able to analyze what they think the nightly rates should be for a property that you're looking on AirDNA to know the pricing on. Now there are some days that it's like, oh, you should be charging twice as much. I'm like, yeah, no, I can, but it's going to remain vacant. And you're with it, there's going to be seasonality to it, just like there is in tourism and hotels and everything like that. And Airbnb across the board in a lot of markets is slowing down a little bit. So this has been a slower month for me in July, when July is usually my second busiest month. June is always my busiest month because we have the College World Series in town. So every single hotel room and Airbnb in the city is pretty much booked for 2-3 straight weeks because of that. And then supply and demand, yeah, you have pretty good rates on that.
Except third.
Yeah.
Sabrina says, calculate a rental market analysis and compare prices against local hotel rates. This gives you a range markup.
Mhm.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and then you compare the amenities too. So if you're just a room with a bed and a bathroom, you're basically a hotel. Then, I mean, you probably are going to be priced a little bit less than what the hotel rates are. But if you have a kitchen and a laundry room, what hotel? There are hotels that have kitchens. There are hotels that have common laundry rooms that you have to have quarters for. I think I've never used a hotel laundry, but I think you have to have quarters for them versus you just use mine.
Yeah, and that is a nice amenity. I will tell you, as a family of 4, right? Especially when you're in the beach sand, it's sandy, right? And so having that, they had a washer and dryer in there, and it was nice to be able to throw our swimsuits and towels and everything else in there. And so yeah, thinking about that too when you're doing an Airbnb, like what do I want as a guest, and do that, right? I mean, just put yourself in those shoes.
Yeah. And I heard this and it makes a lot of sense that when you're starting a new Airbnb property, you be your first guest.
Yeah.
Spend a day, 2 days, a week, whatever in that property, because you're going to find out, oh, I need a spatula. I forgot about a spatula.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need this, or I need that, or this room is kind of cold. Maybe I need to put a heater in it or something like that. You're going to learn what it's like from the guest perspective. So then you can make those changes and do it appropriately from there.
Yeah, you're providing, you're not just providing a space to live, you're providing an experience, right?
Yes.
You want them to come back again if they're going to stay in the area, or say, they know friends that are going to be there. Hey, you need to stay at this place, or write a good review. Like, for instance, for us, we stayed at a beach house. And so they were smart enough to provide us with, beach towels, obviously, and then beach toys, for my kid to go play in the sand, and boogie boards, and all the stuff that we needed was right there, which was nice.
Mhm.
We didn't have to go out and buy the stuff. They even provided a frisbee. So, I mean, just thinking of that, like, what's going to make these people have fun, enjoy the property. Definitely think about those kind of things. The small things. It's really the small things.
Mhm.
Sorry, I just went on a tangent because
No, you're good. You're good.
I just got back
Yeah, I
from
mean,
experiencing it.
providing fun things like that even if people are not even recognizing that those things are there, um, if they need them, they will be very appreciative, and they'll be, oh, you thought of everything. You thought I needed a lint roller. You had a lint roller. Or like the fun types of things. I have board games. I've thought about gonna do some like outdoor yard game type things too. Just haven't figured out exactly how and what I want to do with that yet. But a beach property is going to require different things. I know people that provide bikes and scooters and things like that. Um, if you are like close to the zoo, I've seen people that have like the great big wagons. Take the wagon to the zoo. It's walking distance, and you need a wagon to haul your kids around.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Um, so, and just because we got about maybe 15 more minutes, because I know you're a busy guy. So, this was the other question that I had. Should I hire a property manager to take care of this, or can I do it myself? I guess that's a personal question, right? I mean, it sounds like you manage it yourself, but you do have a housekeeper helping you on that side, correct?
Yes. And yep, it's definitely going to be based off of what time you have. And it's going to be if the numbers make sense. If your profit margins are not there that you can return a profit and have a property manager, then at that point you actually and you can't manage it yourself, you probably should look at a different property or a different venture in itself, because there's no reason to lose money. But yes, I manage it myself. I do have the housekeeper that comes through in between each time. Um, Real quick tip on that type of thing too, to make it easier for her and for me. Like, I have a room down there that's on a separate key that she has access to. That's the supply room. So it has all of the like extra salt and pepper shakers, but like shampoo, conditioner, towels, linens, all those types of things. Linens, I have 3 sets of linens and towels. So there's always a clean set ready
Ready to
for
go.
people. There can be a dirty set, and there's a clean set ready to go in case there's anything that happens. My housekeeper goes above and beyond and takes the laundry home and then brings it back. Because that would be one thing that when you're talking to housekeepers, that the laundry is the most time consuming part. If they have to wait there for the laundry to be done. Like they're done cleaning the house, they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the laundry to be done. At that point, analyze different options. Can I handle the laundry myself? Can I hire a laundry service that ends up being less for somebody to come pick up the laundry and then take it back versus paying the housekeeper to sit around? So there are a lot of different moving parts. It depends on how involved you are too.
Yeah, no, that's
I would say the more involved you or your property manager are in the property, the more successful and the better reviews you're going to get.
Definitely. Sabrina says, host tip, factor the housekeeper's time for maintaining the laundry. Yeah. So do you pay your housekeeper by the hour, or do you just do per?
By the clean.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then you do, as a host, have the option to charge a guest a cleaning fee that we alluded to a little bit earlier. So other people are ultimately paying for it anyways. So if you have the margins in there, hire a housekeeper. That's going to make it so much easier for you as a host. It's a lot of time and a lot of stress that you can take off your plate. But then also factor in other cleaning costs as well. And I guess even things like utilities, you need to make sure to factor those into your overall costs, because you're not charging people for their electricity use or anything like that. You're not having it shut off and put in their name for the days. But part of the cleaning fee that I factor into is like quarterly deep cleaning, quarterly carpet cleaning, things like that. So my cleaning fee is more than what it actually costs the housekeeper on that particular time. But then there's a little bit extra that goes towards those deeper cleans and carpet cleaning. Because the baseboards do not need dusted in between every single guest, but every 3 months or so they probably need dusted.
So you roll your cleaning fee into your total costs. Is that correct? You don't do it like as a separate?
I charge the cleaning fee.
You do a separate, okay.
Yep. And I do that, and people, there are some people that are like, I stayed here one night and you're charging me $50. I'm like, well, yes, because it's either that or, is it fair for the people that stay for a week, for 7 days, that I charge them $50 for every one of those 7 days by factoring it into the cost? So, that is a hard cost that it costs me the same no matter if you're there for a week or for, 3 months, it does cost a little bit more because I do have the deep cleaning after like those long ones for sure. So I'm like, there hasn't been vacancy loss. I just eat whatever that difference is. But it is a hard cost that a host incurs. And I get that you were only there for a night. You really didn't make much of a mess. $50 is a lot to clean up. You didn't use any dishes. All it is really doing laundry and probably vacuuming. But it's a cost that I have. So therefore, it's a cost you have.
Yeah. Because Sabrina, your thoughts about rolling the cleaning fee. So it's just in there. It's not as a separate line item.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's not fair to somebody that's staying a week for me to charge them 7 cleaning fees, essentially, is what it would be. And then the single night, like you don't know, you can set a minimum stay length. So you could say, I'm only accepting people that stay a week, stay 3 days, stay a month.
I've seen that, yeah.
And then you could, factor them in a little bit better that way. But like the single nights, I'm not going to lose money either.
That's one thing I know is you're kind of losing some people there when you're saying, oh, it has to be this many days, because sometimes you only need 4 days and they require 5 days. You know what I mean? So you're kind of losing potential clientele that way, but maybe that's
Mhm.
for people.
Yeah. So like my property, I don't think that that'd be the strategy to go. I think there are more resort type of areas. So like mountains, skiing areas, beach areas that it's typical that people are going to spend a week there anyways. They're not there passing through for a night or two. They're going to be there for longer as your target audience or your target market. So you
Right.
can set those types of parameters that way.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's sky's the limit, right? You have choices that you can make, and you don't have to be strapped to that choice, right? You can decide, okay, I'm going to try this. It's not working. I'm going to try, so it's ever moving,
Yes.
correct? You can always change, adapt to what works for you. So before we end today, I want to know, what is like your biggest advice that maybe that you've learned through going through all this that you want to let everybody know before they purchase one, or thinking about purchasing one?
Okay. Well, the biggest thing that I had to learn is it's going to be all right. Um,
I like that.
I had so much anxiety the first guest because I think when they were bringing their luggage down, their suitcase probably knocked over one of my outdoor solar lights. And I was freaking out that that meant that they were going to be trashing the place. I was so nervous to walk in the suite afterwards. I I was preparing myself for the absolute worst. It was fine.
It
Like,
was fun.
yeah, I mean, things will work out. There are horror stories out there, absolutely. There are horror stories out there about every opportunity, about every career, every field, every single thing. There's going to be negatives. There's also positives, and I've had one negative. Now, granted, I had that 18-year-old drinking party. Been my first experience. I might have not proceed or
Kept going.
continued with that endeavor
Yep.
because that was pretty stressful. But you'll meet great people as well if you're more engaged in the process too. Like if you buy something in Miami, then you're not going to be meeting great people. But you'll get to chat with them if you manage it yourself from afar. Um, so otherwise, be flexible. Have like a back supply of things ready to go. I mean, like I have spare light bulbs and batteries and remotes. Remotes break or they get lost. So, I mean, having a spare TV remote is a good idea. That's
Or
already
your
pre-programmed.
or your teenage son accidentally packs it.
Oh, yes. Or your teenage son, I guess teenage son packs it.
I'm not saying that that happened to me.
Of course not. Your teenage son would never do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Um,
smart, very smart.
yes, but I guess another big thing is I always ask for feedback and I phrase it like I want to improve the experience. So if there's anything, please let me know. I take action on that feedback. It's very important to me. I also put a lot of myself in this process. I'm very proud of what I do and the services that I provide and the experiences I provide for people. Not everyone sees it that way. So being okay that you're not going to make everyone happy no matter how hard you try.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Bravo. This has been great
Thank you.
information, Kyle. Thank you so much. Like I've got notes here, and I will definitely share this with my current client right now that is scared to death right now of buying her first Airbnb property. And I keep telling her it's going to be okay. It's going to work out. So I'm going to
Yeah,
send this to her.
well, share this with her. Share my contact information if you can share that on these things. I don't know what the capabilities of technology are. If anyone has questions, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
help them. There's also a referral link that I can send to a new host. They get a little bit of money. I get a little bit of money too.
Perfect.
But in exchange for that, I will help you. I've helped people like early, about 6 months ago. I helped somebody set up a whole brand new Airbnb. I went and did all the shopping for all the furniture, all of the silverware, the paper towels, like everything. I got it all set up and made it turnkey. So locally, that is something I can do. Afar, that is not something I can do.
What, you want to travel Montana again, Kyle? You love Montana.
The thing I don't, okay, I do love Montana. It was very nice, great people there, very beautiful scenery. I don't know the stores. Like here, I know the stores. I get very good deals. I'm very good at shopping. I can comb through the clearance sections, and I know which stores and where to go to get the best prices on everything.
Nice.
Montana, I don't know that.
We have a home goods now. We have a home goods now.
Okay, home goods is a great option. It's one of my favorites. But I know you do not have a Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Nope.
Because so not only Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Texas have Nebraska Furniture Marts too, but they do not have Mrs. B's clearance section. That is only in Nebraska.
Okay.
But I might be able to buy a truckload of stuff and then just ship it to you.
There you go.
Where else? I was on self-promotion type things. I'm also toying with the idea of property management right now, and that would include a Airbnb division as well.
Ooh,
so if I get that up and running and people are interested in management services, I'm a guy for that.
Now, just in your area or nationwide?
We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, if I can get my systems in place,
yeah.
Now it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I have to find people that I trust in other places.
Right.
A housekeeper, handyman. So between those two, they can kind of probably be the eyes and ears on things too. But you kind of want to cross-check. Even though I have the housekeeper, I do go through and do a quality check, is what I've come to call it. I go and turn on all the lights, just like I would on a showing for a house. Make sure that nothing was forgotten. The K-cups, that's a thing that it's out of sight, out of mind. But guests are not very happy if there's an old K-cup in that machine.
That is true.
So just little things like that. But yeah, I am open to exploring the opportunity. If there's somebody that is willing to do that, I also have to double check if it's like what the rules are in Nebraska. You have to have a property manager or a real estate license and things like that to do property management. So we shall see.
Where can people find you? Where can people follow you? Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Yes.
They can text me. That would be my preference. But yes, this Instagram thing, it's kyle.schulze.realtor. The spelling is right there underneath me because Schulze is a little bit different. There's an implied T. The number one reason I do not get emails and stuff is because people spell my name wrong. So that, and then Facebook, I have Facebook, but my little username or whatever it is, again, as I said at the beginning of this, I'm not a good millennial. So my Facebook is something. I have the TikTok. I've made one and I post. I think I posted another one. I haven't officially made. Yes. So I have a couple there. I have the threads.
You are on the thread.
That I've made 0 posts, and I don't know if you can message on those or not.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay, not yet. So don't try to message me on threads.
You know, Kyle, you know what you should post on your threads? Do a hot tip of the day for owning an Airbnb, or yeah, do that. See what kind of response you get. Or another one, ask for all the Airbnb or VRBO owners, what is your worst horror story? And just see if someone replies.
I could get a lot of good. I could get some good stories from that.
Yeah.
Not negative though.
Well,
maybe I'll be like, what is your worst and what is your best?
Yeah, there you go.
I want a little bit of a sunshine at the end of reading this horror story.
You're right. Well, thank you once again for doing this with me. It was totally last minute. I texted you yesterday, I'm like, Kyle, you want to do this with me? And he's like,
yes,
what?
And then you're like, this StreamYard. I'm like, never heard of that. But we'll figure it out. And then, so also like Instagram now, I'll pay attention to you. Like there's a screen here that, to my understanding, is going to like all the rest of the world, but it doesn't stream to Instagram. So you're up here and you're there, and there are 2 cameras, and I just had to decide. I chose the one to stream to the most places. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Instagram is for the behind the scenes. So yeah, either way, the information's getting out there. That's what
you had a really good behind the scenes of me looking at this camera and a really good shot of my forehead.
Well, this is getting my worst side profile. Like I hate this side of my face. You know?
And you're flipped. It's like you look that way on the computer. You're looking that way on Instagram.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Do I do? Oh, I do that too. All right.
Which way are we looking? Jeremiah said, Kyle, your lighting and camera is perf. Great job. It is. It's really good lighting.
Awesome. Thank you, dining room track lighting.
You got a cool little background behind you. Is that the vase you got in Montana?
No, that is in my other thing. But that is the swag lamp I got in Montana.
Nice.
Oh. And you can see, like right by my shoulder there on the cord, that is still the original tag on it from when it was built or made or however, whatever the correct word is, back in like the 70s or so.
Yeah. When it was born.
It made it back thanks to Mindy Kidney and her husband Josh Kidney. I could not fly with this, but they put it in their car and they drove it back for me. And thanks to whatever the like antique vintage store in downtown Billings, Montana is.
Sassy Chic, I think. Sassy and Classy or Sassy Chic or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there are actually a couple of them. It was a corner building.
Yep. They have a lot of cool stuff. They have like vintage stuff and the new stuff and then all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, but that was hanging in the window when I went to visit Billy and the Montana or the Billings YPN for their RE bar camp. So these were my souvenirs from that. Yeah. And I mean, Billy and I will both be in Miami, Florida next Thursday for the Miami YPN RE bar camp. So check that out as well.
August 3rd.
August 3rd, yes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there are still tickets available. And if they're not, I was wrong.
We'll just be like, Kevin, let the people in. We are
yes.
Let them in.
Name drop us and you'll probably get in.
Yeah, well, maybe. They're like, oh, you're Billy and Kyle's friend? You're out. We don't need any more of those people. No, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to learning and networking. And of course, Miami, the palm trees. So
The palm
cool.
trees.
Yes, the palm trees.
You're
And
gonna dig one up and shove it in your suitcase and take it home with you.
I might. Are there like little baby palm trees that I could just like pull out of the ground and like put it and then plant it here? It probably wouldn't survive.
I mean, that's probably a better Kevin question. I feel like there have to be,
Yeah.
but it probably is going to be in a little more like wild type areas
Yeah.
because the maintained areas they would have pulled those already,
That's
or
true.
like the lawnmower would have ran over them. I actually don't know how that works. The coconut falls on the ground and then a tree comes out of it, but the coconut's not burying itself in the ground. Does the coconut just sit there and then roots come out one end and leaves come out the other and then the coconut dissolves? I don't know. This is a thing I need to learn now. But
seed though? Like
I think so.
we just went on a tangent.
Otherwise, what is the coconut? It's a nut. A walnut is the seed of a walnut tree. An acorn is that doesn't have the word nut in it though, but a peanut is, I think, a seed. Well, actually, that's part of a root. I don't know. Forget that part. But there probably are. We just have to go to more wild areas. But what also comes with the wild areas, like alligators and anacondas. And I don't want to get eaten.
Not that.
I'm sorry, Billy, but a little baby palm tree is not worth me being eaten.
I'd be like, oh look, it's a baby. And then my arms are gone.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No.
Billy with no arms would not be good. I would not get things done. I talk with my hands, see? Like, how would I talk without my hands?
It'd be very hard for you to do your dancing and stuff and your theater performances. You could do it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, okay. No problem.
We're not on Airbnb anymore. We got off on a strange tangent at the beginning and lost people. By now nobody's listening to us anyways. There is one person on
Instagram hanging in there. They're liking this palm tree talk, but our Facebook people are like, what is going on?
I don't know how to find out who is watching.
Oh, now they're gone now too. They're like, no, we're out as well.
Oh, because we called them out.
No, but I can't see who it is. It just says one person is watching.
Okay. So, well, I saw one of my friends was on here earlier. It says like the name and joined, and I don't know if I can. Oh, I can scroll. I click on it. Cool. We've had all kinds of people joining.
Yeah, we did. That's awesome.
YPN Global was watching us.
Yeah. Shout out to YPN Global, KP. Yeah,
Daniel, and I'm sorry, I probably know some of these other people, but I don't know your like little username thingies.
Yeah, the username sometimes throws me off too. But well, cool. Well, I'm gonna let you get back to work, Kyle, and make some money. And I will see you next week in Miami. I'm excited.
Wonderful.
So thanks again.
Bring cool clothes this time. And drink lots of water.
Yeah, I heard it's like.
And you can still probably run along the beach, but evaluate the temperature at that time. Maybe you can take like a nighttime run along the beach.
I'm gonna have to go before the sun comes up. That's what I'm gonna do.
Or you can do that. You can go run around downtown Durrell. There's prettiness down there. We go on walks. So.
Okay. Yeah, you know the area now, so you have to let me know, Kyle. Like, don't run here, don't So I'll be leaning on you to tell me where not to run.
Okay. Well, I don't know where not to run, but I can just tell you the walking path or the path of the walk that I took.
Okay, perfect.
That's all I can do.
Okay.
And I can take you to the pretty, like, more private beach spot that I found.
Okay.
We have to go over a toll bridge to another island, but it's very pretty.
I'm all about it. I love the beach. And Wanda loves the beach, as you know. She will also be there. So You have to show her around.
All right. Well, we'll talk and make more plans. Text me, let me know when you're going to be there and when you're leaving and all of that.
Okay.
And to the rest of the world, have Airbnb questions? Let me know.
Dr. Kyle.
Oh, I can add comment. I will, but you already know. So click on my thingy and send me a message
There
on
you go.
Instagram, and then everyone else.
I mean, you're welcome. You're welcome to put your phone number if you want. If you want the whole world to know your phone number, feel free.
I mean, it's already. I'm a realtor, so my number is well published. My phone number is 402-699-2220.
Call now.
Call now for your real estate needs in Nebraska, Iowa, and Florida.
There you go. Boom. All right, Kyle. Well, have a wonderful Friday. We'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds perfect.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right.
I'm going to rely on you.